What's the smoothest thing you've said to someone? It was by accident. But I was at a currency exchange station in Mexico and had the following conversation with the guy there in Spanish. Hi. I'd like to exchange these dollars. In pesos? In pesos. I asked him for 200 in kisses. Had I meant to do it? It would have been the best line I've ever devised. Whenever I trip in public, I have always said to the first person who looks at me, have that removed. And they always laugh. First time buying condoms for myself right out of high school. I went into the CVS and put the condoms and only the condoms on the counter. Clerk asks, bag it? I respond, that's the idea. He and I share a small laugh and I never see or talk to him again. It's truly the little moments that count. I once walked into a haircut place without an appointment. As I'm walking in, the lady grabs her pen, looks at the appointment book and says, and you are? And I reply, unexpected. Back in college, a classmate visited my dorm room. I had a crush on her, so I was trying not to be awkward. I immediately failed at not being awkward when I sat down and a bunch of loose change fell out of my pocket. I immediately remarked sorry. Someone pushed my coin return button. She laughed so hard she nearly peed herself. We then dated for 4 years. I was at a fast food joint with a girl I had a crush on and she started bitching about being single. I looked at her and said, okay. Let me change that for you. Wanna go out? She said yes. In a country waltz class, the dance instructor was a delightful gay man. To demonstrate to some of the follows, typically women, how some of them were spinning too far away from their partners on a certain move, he asked me to lead him through the move. He spun far away from me, so I had to hurry after him. He asked me, and what just happened? I was chasing you, I answered. Why? He asked. Because you're so cute. Whole class, including the instructor, absolutely lost its peep laughing. Was playing beer pong once against these girls and got them down to last cup. Right before my shot they pulled out their tits to try to distract me. I stopped, looked one of them dead in the eye and said, that's nice. But I'm an ass man. And sank the shot. I know a guy. I guess they were in college and there was some event in an auditorium. Foldable chairs filled the room and this woman went to sit in front of him. I guess the chair collapsed and she fell backward into his leg. He said something like, you don't even know my name and you're falling for me already? They've been married at least 15 years and have 4 children. Peaked in middle school. Was at the skate park after dark with my pal with the primary goal of seeing his girlfriend. Him and his girlfriend were making out with some goodnight kisses as we were about to leave. On the other side of his girl was his girl's girlfriend. She whined, where's my goodnight kiss? Right over here. We missed. That was also my first kiss and the most smooth I've ever been. Ashamed by the first attempt, I declined when she asked if I wanted to try again. LOL. I was a lot older than most people that enlisted in the army. And was the oldest recruit in both basic training and advanced individual training. 8 had this weird quasi-hierarchy, where the kids closest to graduating felt like they had the right to peep with the kids that had just arrived. One kid that was obviously younger than me decided that he wanted to pick on me. Which wasn't a big deal, because it honestly just seemed silly to me. But he would never say my last name properly. And it is a super simple last name. Anyhow, at one point we were in formation for PT. And he kept pestering me. When I eventually just moved to a different spot in formation, he called out, "Oh, What's wrong? Not quite last name. Aren't we friends? I replied with, why the f*** would I want to be friends with someone too stupid to pronounce a two-syllable name? Still makes me happy how quick it shut him down. Call center years ago. Caller. You can stick that where the sun don't shine. Me. Sir. I live in Florida. We have nude beaches. The sun shines everywhere. Was a server at Olive Garden and accidentally dropped all my cash in front of my table. After picking it up I casually said sorry, just low-key flexing. Thankfully they thought I was hilarious and the whole thing was a very positive experience. I met a girl that was in town visiting a mutual friend. We were at a bar and she said she was going back to her friend's house. So I offered to walk with her back. But without thinking I was walking back to my place. She said this isn't the way to Charlotte's house. For some reason the only thing I could think to say was this way is more fun. She just shrugged like okay and carried on with me to my place. Me buying a half-gallon of milk and a 12-pack. Cashier. Don't drink all that tonight. Me. I know. That much milk would me make sick. I used to work in a call center. And one caller advised me to go f*** myself. After I asked how I could help him that day. My response. Happily, sir. But I have to wait until my break. In the meantime. How can I help you? Fair to mention. I'm a guy who apparently sounds like Nicolas Cage over the phone, so dude probably wasn't having sexy thoughts. Happened at a house party like a year ago. I had been talking to this girl all night. We had met at a previous party and there was some brief flirting but nothing came of it, so I knew we were both interested. At some point a guy who I kinda knew was clearly trying to cock block me. And walked up to the beer pong table with one cup left, said alright if I hit this shot. You give me your number. Anyway, after he missed a couple times he laughed it off and walked away. So I walked right up to the table and said alright, I'll take your number then. And drained the shot first try. Was pretty proud of myself for that one. Don't leave us hanging. Did you get her number? I did. She was very impressed. And we hung out a couple times but nothing too serious from it. When I was in high school, this kinda beefy tough kid got up in my face during P.E. class. After a few long seconds went by, I said you have gorgeous eyes and immediately diffused the situation. I was at church and this older 19-year-old beautiful girl 16 at the time started talking to me. She asked if I had someone I liked. I said yes and she said is she older or younger? I said I don't know. How old are you? Parents on both sides didn't like the age gap. So it didn't work out. But being as introverted as I am, I was completely impressed with how smooth that was. A girl once told me on a date that she didn't think I was the kind of guy she could fall in love with. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, you can and I know you will. We now have 2 children. I was talking with my friend and via video chat at midnight and she had kicked her dog by mistake. I asked how is she? It's a female dog. She said, a little bit tired and extremely cute, to which I replied okay. But what about the dog? She laughed so hard she dropped her phone under her desk and left me there listening to her laugh for the next 2 minutes. Edit. Spelling. Was at a bar for my girlfriend's 21st. Bartender made her a birthday drink and said, this one is called an orgasm. If you like it I can give you more. I was standing right there so I naturally said, nah, I got her covered. We got a few more free drinks after that one. I worked with an older guy that was a know-it-all. Done everything type. I did his job for him. One day, Because he was late and I was getting complimented by the guy in charge. When this guy showed up, he says, "Why do you have to make me look bad?" To which I said, "You just make it so easy." On a first date with someone. We chilling at a restaurant and after some small talk she asked how cool I was. By sheer coincidence just then a waiter passed by and stumbled over and dropped a plate of food and drink. In one swift motion I caught the plate and the drink without spilling anything and placed it back on the waiter's tray. Now the coolest part here is how I managed not to freak out at the fact that I had just become Spider-Man for a brief moment. It took me a moment. But I gathered my cool. Calmed myself down. Looked back at her. And simply responded with, "That was just a demo." Back in my party days, I was absolutely in love with this girl. She came over during a house party once where I was already rolling balls ecstasy. She knew I had a thing for her. But I was awkward AF socially and I don't think she took me very seriously, as stupid as I was around her. I was a fumbling fool when she was around. But that night we went to a back room and were just talking by ourselves. It was the first time I was alone with her and of course I'm trying not to act a fool. Especially while being off my face. We were just talking real close and intensely when she suddenly commented on how enormous my pupils were. X will do that to ya. Somehow a random factoid about dopamine and attraction popped in my head and without missing a beat. I tell her about how our pupils dilate more when we are looking at something beautiful and captivating. She pauses for a minute and then goes, "Full of it? But that was a really good line." It was cheesy. Yes. But we dated for some time after that, so I suppose it landed well.